Good morning. Thank you to Representative Klunk for putting this event together, and thank you to Liz Sobal-Janides and the fine people here at the Markets of Hanover for sharing their facility with us. As Kate said, I'm Kristin Phillips-Hill. I have the honor of representing over 250,000 York Countyans in the Pennsylvania State Senate. And to say that the governor's veto of House Bill 1737 is a disappointment would be a complete understatement. As the prime sponsor of the underlying proposal in the Senate, I believe that it is a complete failure of this administration to provide protections to our most vulnerable. For the last 8 months, the governor has provided mitigation mandates, unclear guidance, and unilateral requirements on every single Pennsylvanian. These mandates have been part of one of the most significant and severe economic shutdowns in the entire nation. And while my colleagues here today have talked about the governor's go-it-alone approach and its devastating impact on our small businesses, on our farms, on our healthcare providers and our healthcare systems, on our education institutions, I think that we have to talk about the unsung heroes that continue to operate around the clock, and that is our nonprofit community. House Bill 1737 said to our YMCAs, our food banks, our churches and synagogues, and other nonprofit organizations that they would be protected from frivolous lawsuits if they followed the rules, the governor's rules. House Bill 1737 would not absolve anyone or any entity from their bad, egregious, intentional behavior or wrongdoing. But let me say this, from day one, the governor has issued shifting and consistently changing mandates on every single Pennsylvanian. He ordered that in-person crowds had to be kept at a minimum at the same day that he decided to march in one. Our food banks have been critical for families who've seen their income disappear through no fault of their own and the failure of the unemployment compensation system. So this phrase of, we're all in this together, seems to have been completely forgotten now that the governor is ignoring the needs of those entities that have worked so very hard to do what is asked of them by public health officials in the face of this global pandemic. This veto means our nonprofits can still run the risk of being hit with a costly lawsuit even when they have worked hard to do the right thing and followed all of the governor's guidance, as well as the guidance from the Center for Disease Control. That is not right. That is immoral. I listened to the debate on the Senate floor and heard people say that this bill was a gift to special interests. We're here in Hanover today. So apparently the Hanover YMCA is now a special interest. The York YMCA is a special interest. The food banks that have been working overtime throughout the majority of this year are now considered a special interest. I would contend that they are far from a special interest. In many cases, they are the last option available for society and people who are at their breaking point. They are the last option to put food on a family's table, provide childcare, or a place to seek support and counseling. The governor's veto was, in fact, a gift to the special interest known as the trial lawyers. One lawsuit against one of our YMCAs, one of our nonprofits, could mean the permanent end for a community resource. It could be a backbreaker for our social service organizations, providing incredible resources for our most vulnerable. It could mean no more meals from a volunteer-led food bank. The governor has established some of the most draconian and confusing mandates in the nation that his own administration cannot even answer for. I know that I've sent over a dozen letters to the governor seeking clarity and transparency. And I'm sure you're not going to be surprised when I tell you I have not received a single response. Every lawmaker that you heard from here today is working in their district offices, answering their phone calls, replying to their emails, and often without answers because the governor's administration continues to work remotely. If you want guidance, good luck. And when we tried to provide some very common sense protections for our community when they needed it the most, instead the governor gave a gift to one of our state's largest special interests. Instead of signing this common sense bill, he told our entire nonprofit community that's now under the threat of frivolous lawsuits the very same thing. Good luck. It's abundantly clear that the governor has shown he's more concerned about padding the pockets of the rich trial attorneys than standing up for and protecting our farmers, our public schools, colleges, small businesses, healthcare providers and healthcare systems, and the nonprofits that have worked so hard to stick by the very guidance that he and his administration have asked every Pennsylvanian to follow. I've already circulated a co-sponsor memo with my colleagues in the Senate, and I'm hopeful that the governor will reconsider the horrible decision that he made that has given every trial attorney a set of scissors for a nonprofit community that's hanging on by a thread. Thank you.